Haters gonna hate, man. Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, haters gonna hate, exactly.
Haters gonna hate. You're a hater, that's all. Yeah, you know.
Man, you're right.
You know, you're a hater. You're not. You're taking out your animosity on this poor girl.
So do you want to play a transgressive game?
I don't know. I guess I'll find out.
How big philosophers have sex? Like generally?
Like this. And so on and so forth.
So
you got to put that out as
example.
a clip, please. You got to put that out as a clip.
some Freud, for example. So
I won't mention who we're referring to there.
So Freud, for example. So
yeah.
How does Freud had sex? Did he have sex?
Freud became impotent in his later life.
Is that true?
Yeah, he just smoked cigars and he's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
With his wife.
He said that.
I've heard that. It could be just some stupid thing that people say, but
yeah.
But Freud didn't want to learn the tantric techniques, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor guy.
I found some pictures of Nietzsche while he's still, I think like 80, 99, when he was still alive, but already in absolute dementia or whatever he had. And so there's a couple of photographs of him, which I didn't know, which are quite interesting.
Because most of the photos we have are him as being a crazy person, right? We don't have him as in his...
There are a couple
we don't have photographs. We don't have many photographs of him as in his normal state.
No, there are photographs of him being young, So there's like a whole series of photos just 1 year before his death, basically. And so I was like, so there's a German term, and I don't think there is like a proper translation for it. And it's called Nietzsche's Umnachtung. And it means something like Nacht means night. Umnachtung, something means like roughly to be in the night, to be engulfed by night. And this is such a weird term to use for his state because you don't use it for anything else. Everybody knows that word, but it's just one word that you only use for Nietzsche's state of mind. It's like you can't, it's like this word has only one purpose, one usage. It's crazy.
And it only refers to Nietzsche? You couldn't use it in any other context?
Nobody uses it for anything else in German, Umnachtung. And I was thinking about how weird that is. And it might have something to do because, the diagnosis was vague back then and it's still kind of vague now. And then he's like the philosopher, poet, and then you have this whole poetic. It's a very poetic word.
Did he get syphilis or?
Yeah, and you would expect a word like this from Oscar Wilde or something, or Hesse or Thomas Mann. Like Umnachtung. It's a beautiful word, and but it means basically dementia. But nobody's. And so, but you have this word, and it's explicitly only for his state of mind, and I found that super interesting. And so I was like in the bar and drinking a beer after work, and so I was thinking about all these kinds of things that he became, egomaniacal and had this grand visions of himself and his, position in history, while he never sold any books. And then when his Umnachtung started and the night started to engulf him, step by step, his fame started to begin, Yeah.
So what a trade-off, God, madness for getting actually that actual thing that he said he was actually, Right. There's been many mad people who have had delusions of grandeur. He was a mad person who had delusions of grandeur. It turns that he actually was that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But what a cost! What a sacrifice! What a terrible fate!
Yeah.
At least from our perspective. Maybe it wasn't
Yeah.
such a terrible fate. Maybe he was in a state of enlightenment in his 10 years in the madhouse and feeling totally blissful, for all we know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Rudolf Steiner apparently was allowed to visit him in this final year, basically. And so he gives a very astute account of what he observed and what he thinks of Nietzsche and all of these things. And so it appears he was sitting in a chair, and these big chairs, like completely sunken into himself. And only when noise from playing children outside or like other noises came, he would start to move and start to try to express something, but because of the strokes he wasn't being able to. And then the sister had to come and to calm him down, and so he was not be able to properly react to external influences, basically.
Yeah.
Such an interesting figure,
Oh yeah, my God. Yeah.
So it's like who has that ability to create such a corpus of philosophy and hallucinate about his position in culture accurately, basically.
Yeah. And there's so many contradictions in Nietzsche, right? Like he's so full of contradictions. Yeah. He's this overman who is sort of like, and yet he was sort of alone all the time. His philosophy is all about friendship, and he had no friends. And life affirming, affirming your fate, and all of these things that his like philosophy seems to be the opposite of his actual existence.
Yeah.
So it often comes out in a way as a fantasy, like as a delusion, or as a